All right, welcome to another episode of the Pinpoint Investor with Faisal Morsi. I have my guest today, Andrew Owlett. Am I pronouncing that correct? Owlett?
You got it, Andrew
Uh,
Owlett.
perfect. Andrew is a go-giver from the first time we talked. He's just trying to figure out how he can add value to others, and I have the same mindset in that regard. So, appreciate you taking the time out to meet with me.
I appreciate you. And, one of the first things that was ever taught to me is like, you gotta give back. Like, I was a first responder for 7.5 years, and that's where a lot of that mantra comes from. And I think everybody in the real estate investor community should give back in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you learn by doing, you learn by, falling over and picking yourself back up, but you need that community and you need that group you can rely on for that advice and everything. So I mean that's why, I do what I do and that's what you do too. So
Awesome, man. Yeah, appreciate it. That's awesome. What type of first responder were you?
I was a firefighter EMT in Baltimore County, Maryland, 7.5 years, and then got out for one way, shape, or form. Like, I mean, I was kind of pushed out because of some medical issues. And then went into which was actually a blessing in disguise, to be completely honest. Like everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in it. And then I ended up into consulting and then tech. So that's like the W-2 side of me and everything.
Nice. That's awesome. So what do you do now as far as the W-2 goes?
Yeah, so I 2 weeks ago I just left a position, so I'm in a new one now. I lead data center resiliency work. It's a pretty buzzwordy type of like sentence there. But previously I led IT supply chain security, so like cybersecurity, physical security for IT equipment that goes into buildings.
Nice. That's awesome. Um, so I know you have two young kids, full-time job, obviously wife. And so how do you have time for real estate investing on the side?
It's a balance. It's a journey. This week is not a good week. Like my balance is all out of whack. Like just to be like transparent and honest and not paint this picture like, hey, everything's going perfect. This week's kind of tough. Like this week's tough because we we put in an offer and it was accepted on a boutique hotel, like small value add hotel. So like things are pretty hectic like during the due diligence period now, but also we have a 9 unit apartment building we're trying to like push to the finish line. It was a 9 unit fix and flip over 6 months we did it, which is awesome. But like we're just like there's like little finishing touches and little intricacies like we're trying to push over, so that's hectic. And then we have a ground up development build we're doing, a boutique wellness resort, and like there's just a lot going on with that. That's everything in real estate investing. And then I got my W-2, got the family. And this week, like the W-2 got pushed a little bit to the side because there were other things going on. And I don't like doing that because that's like the stability of the income and everything that we have coming in. Um, but then there were some really early mornings this week just to crank out stuff before the kids woke up. Some late nights too. Um, so this week I suck at balancing. Like that's like really the crux of what I'm trying to say. And other weeks are a lot better. Like I have some support like from like a virtual assistant perspective. My wife's getting more involved and taking on more of the stuff. Previously she didn't really want to, but now she's loving it. Like it kind of took a little bit of confidence building and a little bit of, hey, like just dip your toes into it. You'd be pretty good at this. So we're going through some changes on that front too, like to kind of like alleviate a lot of the pressure on my shoulders, which is good. So there's a lot of transformation going on, but can't paint the picture that it's easy because this week was not easy at all. It has not been. There are easy weeks. There, like when everything is going great, which is very rare that everything is, but there are times that things are on auto drive and autopilot, and like there are other times then you have to get your hands dirty. So anyway, it's a balancing act. That's a long way of putting it, and it's a journey. So.
Nice. All right, let's rewind to the beginning. So how'd you get into real estate investing, and why?
So 2015, bought a row home in Canton in Baltimore and said before I even bought that, I was like, you know what? I want to find a place that I can live in for a little bit, learn the market, and then I want to rent it out and test the waters as a landlord and as a real estate investor. So I eventually met my wife. We moved out, and I became a property manager and by association like the beginnings of a real estate investor. So I learned about tenant vetting and screening, marketing, branding, staging, move in, move out, inspections, automations, like just a whole bunch of stuff, and it was a great learning experience. So I took about 2 years to really learn the ins and outs on a very small scale. Like I didn't want to explode up in a year or two. I wanted to be very intentional, but I also didn't want to take way too long. I wanted to see a couple tenant turnovers and just understand that. And then in like 2018, 2019, we started looking for a short-term rental. We ended up finding one and we started dabbling into that space. And again, very small, like type of scaling up, like type of framework. We wanted to learn the ins and outs of like that. And it's a much faster turnover process and it's a much different one than long-term rentals. And then really 2020, 2021 is when we started buying more and more assets and everything. And we said, okay, we have a process to do this. Let's buy some more and see how it goes. And um, that's kind of what led us into like boutique wellness and and hotels and everything. Actually, was the short term rental side of things because we were like, wait, like we're doing this on a really small scale for one unit, but what if we did two or three or four or five or 10 or 20? Like, I mean, is it really that much difficult? Like, so we're about to embark on that journey and kind of find out. But from what I hear and from people in the space, like if you do it for one, you can do it for 10. Like it's just if you set up the same mechanisms, they'll generally work. You may have to tweak them a little bit, but now you have the power of scale and you have the power of a commercial asset. So why not dabble into that space? And plus, we're highly passionate about hospitality anyway. So it's just been kind of like this building block, and then like the last year and a half, it's been, or the last 2 to 3 years, sorry, it's been a pretty exponential scaling like type of process and everything. So
And so you say we, is it just you and your wife, or do you have business partners as well?
for the majority, about 90% of the stuff we're doing, um, it's just my wife and I. And then for the boutique wellness resort stuff, we are bringing on a partner, and we're going to structure it as a syndication, which is a whole nother area that I'm learning. Um, and it's just completely different again than what I'm used to. So we're going to bring on another partner, and she's going to help with investor relations, capital raise, and maybe a little bit of marketing and everything. But the bulk of it will be on my wife and I to do the operations and everything, and um, a lot of the other intricacies that go into it. But yeah, that'll be the first time we bring on a partner, and we've been very like selective and a little bit hesitant because it's like a trust building type of thing. Like you have to date before you marry, and like I mean, it's just it's a process. So yeah.
So, I mean, running a boutique hotel, like that's um not anything for the faint of heart. How did you decide to get into this? And where do you even learn how to do this? Like, especially because it's just you and your wife. Like,
Yeah, so I joined a mastermind community of experienced hotel operators that are in the boutique hotel space. And there's about 20 people, 25 people in it, and about 75% of them have more than three hotels. So they're experienced operators, and all throughout the United States. Some actually in the Caribbean too. So formed my circle. I speak about this like so much, like it's so important to form your circle. And that circle ended up being a paid mastermind, and it's been probably one of the best investment decisions like I've ever made. I was always so skeptical of paying money for a mastermind. I'm like, that just sounds like kind of silly. And then finally bit the bullet because we believe in hospitality and we believe in what we're doing. And it was like top three decision we've made and stuff. But how did we get into it? We've always had a passion for service to others and making people have a really good experience. So we love to travel. We love the amenity aspect of going to a hotel. We love the customer service aspect of it. But also, my wife and I are hyper technical, like, and we see so much opportunity for automation. Um, and so, what we want to do is we want to use these hotels actually also as a test pilot for some tech we're going to develop and make the experience like something memorable, and like we're capturing data on like every movement of the guest, and like when they wake up, when they go to sleep, like obviously within privacy concerns and everything, like we're working on that. But um like what they order, when they interact with us, like just so many like data inputs that could be valuable to a business. Um, and the wellness space in particular, just to chat a little bit about that. I had PTSD as a firefighter. And when I left the fire department, I had no support system and everything. So I had to navigate that journey on my own, and it took a long time. And I thought, wow, like what if what if I'm not unique? And like what if like you remove the first responder aspect and like people are stressed out. People have a lot on their shoulders no matter where you are and whatever journey you're in. So people need to disconnect, and like personal wellness is something that people are willing to invest in. And boutique hotels, like I see kind of like this X on like a plot. Like you have like hotels that have been scaling up and that have 150, 250 rooms, 100 people staffing it. Like big piece of real estate. Like that's not sustainable, like from a business model perspective. Like it's just so many people and so much real estate to like pay for and everything and take care of. And then you have Airbnbs, which are becoming more regulated. So like that regulation is going to push like Airbnb operators out. So how do you kind of find that happy middle ground and everything to be able to have a commercial asset that's scalable, like from a financial perspective? And I think boutique hotels could be that space. So we're doubling down in that. I mean, that's where we're still going to purchase some long-term rentals because we like that. We like the quote unquote stability aspect of having a long-term tenant in there, but and we may purchase a short-term rental here and there, but like our primary like 70% of our attention is going into the hotel space because we think that's a big bet we need to make. So
What is boutique hotel like? How's it different from like a regular hotel?
yeah, so like typically like less than 50 rooms is a boutique hotel. Our two hotels in particular are going to have the one we just put in an offer on, it's ten rooms, which is very small. And then the one we're building ground up is 23. So um, yeah, very small. So where we're over indexing though, so small footprint and everything, and we're over indexing on personalization and like amenities on the property to make them really stand out. Um, Also marketing and branding, but on the like experience side, we're really going all in on that. And that allows us to be like hyper creative too, like and kind of use a different side of our brain that we very rarely use. Like it's always so business and numbers and tech. And now like it's like, wait, we can be creative and let the mind wander and like do this other stuff. So it's kind of interesting. And we've been forming our team and everything. So it's not just on us. Like again, like that's so incredibly important to find out what you like and what you don't like, and then who's better at it than you and pull them in. You're gonna have to pay money most times, almost all the time, but it'll be better than you just kind of like circling the drain and not taking action. So
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned something about like wellness. Is your hotel going to have some kind of like wellness aspect to it?
yeah, it is. So the wellness hotel is going to have so it's on 31 acres of land. We purchased the land earlier this year after looking for it for two. It's about 90 minutes outside Washington, D.C. So we have a lot of opportunity to capture that market and that crowd when we get into our marketing plan and branding and stuff. So
Where's
31
it at?
Northern Virginia, right outside Luray. It's in the Shenandoah National Forest and George Washington National Forest. That's the backyard of it, which is pretty
Nice.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So 31 acres, expansive views of the Shenandoah Valley. Um, and it's going to be 23 rooms, and it's going to have like a main like gathering point with like a pool. It's going to have a spa, in indoor outdoor pool type of concept, indoor outdoor gym as well, which is pretty cool to be able to be one with nature. What we're calling like an edible plant like walking trail where it's like a couple mile loop on the property, like different terrain and everything where people can like have like a guide of like, hey, like that flower is edible, like pick it up and eat it if you want, like just like really weird, like sensual, like type of things, like just like being with the one with your senses and like all this stuff. So, um, we're gonna have a rock climbing wall. Um, what else? There's probably some stuff I'm missing, but yoga, meditation, sound therapy, like self-guided is going to be the theme. So we can keep our people head count like low. But if people want like support with a massage, like, yeah, you can arrange that. We'll arrange it for you. Like if you need help with yoga, like if you want a yoga instructor or personal trainer, sure, we'll bring that person in. Like just let us know. But mostly we're gonna kind of push toward wellness is your journey. We should not dictate it. We can give you a menu of options and you can pick from that. And then if it so happens you need the support, yeah, pay a little bit extra. We'll get that for you. But mostly everything will be included and that the individual can create their own journey when they're there.
Where do you live?
On the border of Northern Virginia and Maryland, so Frederick County.
Got it. Okay, so that's going to be what, like an hour and a half commute for you?
Yeah, about it's about an hour away from me. So yeah, and the whole idea behind this also is we wanted to start close to home, right? Like that was super, super important for us. And actually all of our investments are within like if you draw a big circle, like 90 minutes of each other. And that's like it's been super important for us to do that. And with this big project, like the plan is we built in salaries for my wife and I so we can solely focus on that. That project is a big project. We have to get it right. We have plans that, like, if we get this right, when we get this right, like, we want to scale up to five total, and we already have like those geographies picked out. But to do this, like, we can't have a W-2. We got to go all in on our vision. So we're ready to. It just is, the next step for it is I've been talking to an SEC attorney to get the syndication stuff together, and we just have to like start getting that ball rolling and then capital raise. So that's why I bring on a partner because they have experience with the capital raise piece and they're just a killer individual altogether. Um, so yeah, lots going on in that space, and it's new territory for me. Like I said earlier, the capital raising piece, brand new territory. Like I'm like, I don't know how to ask people for money, and people are like, you don't ask, you just share, and I'm like, okay, so I'll do that. So it's just new, man.
So, all right, you purchased the 31 acres already, right? With no one else's money, right? Just traditional lending, right? And
Yep,
then, so in order to start the ground up development, you have to raise money, correct?
correct.
Okay. What's the timeline looking like? Like, how much do you have to raise? When do you start development? And when are you going to be done? And then what's the timeline look like on you paying your investors back?
Yep, good question. So we have $6.5 million secured by the bank. The bank is funding 6.5. And we need an additional about 5.5 in from a capital raise perspective, which covers the 30% down payment to the bank. It covers operational costs, marketing, branding, all the extra costs that come into this and everything. So it's a pretty sizable capital raise for us. And our build timeline is we want to break ground in Q2 of next year, so between April and June. It's going to take about 18 months to get everything together. Um, and our investor payback timeline is 4 to 5 years. They're going to be getting though distributions after it's after the 18 months of build and everything. We figured in that hey, you'll start getting your distributions, and then at year 4 to 5, when we do a cash out refinance, you'll get paid back your full um, sum, and then all the interest and equity multiple and stuff. It's about a 2.5 to 3 time equity multiple. It's about a 25% IRR, and it's about a 35% cash on cash, 35% cash on cash. So financially, like they're pretty good financials. Hold period, like just because it's a new development, we have to allow 18 months for the build and then 18 months for the property to start like functioning and everything. And we have some pretty creative strategies to get pre-bookings at about like when we're about 12 months into construction, we're going to start marketing, branding, generating pre-bookings with specials and everything so we can fill the first year before we're even live. And we're going to do that through influencer marketing and like some pretty targeted marketing approaches. So um, sizable chunk of money, but really good returns. And we really believe in this. It's 90 minutes outside DC. Like that crowd, the millennial population that lives there, especially, they're looking for something like this, and all their research points to it.
And so you say, I don't know, like two and a half, three times multiple. So 5.5 million, let's just make it easy, and say 5 million. So you're paying out 15 million after it's stabilized?
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So we're looking at a 28 to 35 million dollar property valuation. And yeah, it's a pretty incredible like opportunity, like I keep saying. I mean, and that is worst case like scenario. We've modeled this at 50% occupancy, which we think is pretty low. We think we can get 60 to 70, but we're taking worst case scenario. We built in operational reserves to get us through a pretty substantial amount of time, and we may not even need to tap into that, but we want to have it. Um, so like there are costs that we're over indexing on because I mean we're just not entire. There's some things that are outside of our control, like permitting and zoning. I mean that that can take no time or it can take a lot of time. We feel pretty good though. Our builder has done hospitality before in the county and in the neighboring counties that we're building in, and they've already floated the idea to the politicians and everything. So like we've had to engage with the county like seat and everything to make sure hey, like we're generating jobs, we're going to be generating traffic here, like we are making your town we're coming into your community and we're revitalizing it, and they're pretty excited about the opportunity because at the end of the day, like we're all going to win. And this is not like big business coming in there, like big hotel. Like this is very small and it's not going to disrupt like the beauty of what they have. So
And so 23 units, are you starting to, well, once you're done, I guess like the original building, like are you gonna start renting them out then? And then like, as construction's going on with all the other ones?
we've talked about this quite a bit. Originally, when I went into this, like when we went into site design planning, I said, hey, like plan this in phases so we can launch in phases because like we want to start generating money. And then when we got done with site design planning, um, I said, well, this is a wellness resort. So like if you're going to a wellness resort and you hear construction in the background, well, is that really like mind, body, soul, right? Like so had to take a step back and say, you know what? We're gonna have to launch this all at once. Like we're not, or it just would go against the brand at the end of the day to do it in phases. And what I was hoping from like a business standpoint is that we could, And then from like I had to put like my business hat to the right a little bit and put on my like I'm the customer. Like, would I actually enjoy that? Like hearing like hammers hitting wood or like hearing construction equipment back up? And the answer is no. So like from an experience and brand perspective, like we've made the decision to just get it all done and then launch. And we'll be doing some soft launches ahead. That'll be one of the investor perks. We're building an investor perk package. So like you invest, and you get an allotment of rooms or an allotment of nights that you can stay like over the 5 year period. And you're invited to the soft launch. And you'll be there for 2 days. You'll be able to see what your money is fueling. And then like that's all inclusive for you because you're investing. So um, I think that's pretty cool. Like that, you're investing into something and then you get to see the fruits of your labor, like what you're allowing to happen. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that too.
That's cool. Do you have a minimum investment?
We would like a minimum of $250,000 just from a management perspective, and an investor relations perspective. That would put us about 19 investors. And that's a good amount. And that's also good for the wellness resort because we have 23 keys. So, 23 doors. So, we want to make sure that we're not like telling all the investors to come to the soft launch and then we don't have space for you. Like that's kind of silly too. So
Yeah.
um 250,000, sizable amount again. It's not like money that everybody has laying around, but the returns on it were very confident. Going back to the returns, it's been tested by independently by people that have no like stake in the game, and then people that have stake in the game, obviously like the partners and me and my wife and the other partner. I mean, we've like really run worst case scenario, but it's been independently tested and validated and everything that we're looking at it the right way. It's a really good opportunity and we're super excited, like I said.
How do you make the leap from single family or a couple doors into something like this?
Start in the short-term rental space. As much as I was talking about that earlier with heavy regulation and everything, you dip your toes into hospitality naturally that way. And it's a much smaller scale. When you get into short-term rentals, you have to learn about like what is the demand? Is it seasonal? Is it highly regulated? Um, what's the price per night that I can get for the room? What's my average revenue per room per night after expenses are taken out? Um, how do I set up a legal entity to be able to like manage this? And how do I set up a property management company to be able to manage the rental and save money on taxes and all this stuff? How do I do a cost segregation study? Like, how do I manage guest communications, automatic like locks and notifying them of their lock codes, automatic notifications to cleaners, like. Um, how do I hold my cleaners and my maintenance people accountable when I'm 3 hours, 4 hours away? Like, so it's a great learning opportunity to just dip your toes, buy a 2 bedroom, 2 bath place. Do the research obviously ahead of time to make sure it's an in demand area, and there's so many different websites out there to be able to do that. AirDNA, CoStar, like I mean, there's probably more. You can probably like just Google it or go to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever and probably find it out. So I mean, do your research, find those areas that you like and start with that. Like, hey, I love vacationing over here. Well, is it a good rental market or is it overly saturated? Because if it's a good rental market, then you can use it too because you got to check in on the property. Make it a family getaway, family vacation for a couple days. So anyway, start small with Airbnbs and then see if you like it. And if you like Airbnbs and you want to stick with it and you want to take the chance on Airbnbs, do it. If you want to go into hospitality because it becomes a commercial asset and commercial assets are valued differently and it's a much different game from a lending perspective too, then go into that. But starting with a short-term rental, you could probably get a second home loan for 10% down. And instead of a commercial loan which is 20, 25 plus percent down. So lower barrier to entry. and you get to test the waters.
Smart. Um, if someone was trying to get into this space, is that what you recommend? Going like trying Airbnbs out first, or joining a mastermind, finding someone who's already doing it? Like, what do you think someone should do?
Yeah. So a couple things. So I would start small, like I just said. I would form your community of support. I have a couple programs myself. I don't really advertise them. I kind of keep them under lock and key. But if people need help and want to get into the short-term rental space, I can help coach them. I can help find the rental and then automate it for them. Or I can help them find the rental and then fully property manage it for them. So I have a couple of different options if people are interested to help out and everything. And I'm always happy to hop on a call. And then there's some really good masterminds out there outside of like working with me. There's I can give a list of folks and everything. Like there's some really good people out there that run some pretty nice masterminds. They're like more high ticket masterminds. Like it's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't cost that much. Like I'm a little bit different how I structure things. So depends on who you jive with and what you like and all that stuff and what you want to do.
Nice. That's smart. All right. So how do people get a hold of you?
Hit me up on Instagram, Andrew Owlett. Um, First name, last name, no spaces. And let me know you watch the podcast and you want to talk more.
All right. Simple enough. Any last words of wisdom or advice?
Um, Getting into real estate is uncomfortable sometimes. It is risky, like there is risk, but you got to take the leap and you got to take action and you have to learn. And that's why I always suggest starting small, learn from small, and then go from there. So do it if you're debating on doing it. If you've never done it before, um, do it. It affords you opportunities that you won't get working a W-2. Like, I mean, you will see the rewards. So that's my last word of advice.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, appreciate you being on. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. And as always, this episode is brought to you by Pinpoint Skip. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Thanks again, Andrew.
Thank you.